Hi guys, thank you for tuning in for another episode of The Boss Seat. And today we have the lovely Bella, who will be talking to us about something that she's felt very passionate about for a long, long time. And Bella is also known as the Debt Crusher. So, Bella, would you like to just introduce yourself and just explain a little bit about why we've named you the Debt Crusher? Why is that your name?
Yeah. Hello guys, I am Bella and I am a chartered accountant. But I also call myself a recovered debt, a recovered creditor. I had so much debt that it affected all aspects of my life. And considering that I'm an accountant and had a financial background and I could still get into that much debt, was a cause of concern. And I am so passionate about it because I managed to, when I started consciously thinking about it, managed to get myself out of debt in 18 months. And I see family, friends, professionals all suffering and being in the same situation. And I have made it one of my missions to inform everybody, from kids to adults, about the disadvantages of debt, from depression to your credit rating, which affects everything in the Western world. Basically. And so it's very much my mission to try and help everybody I come into contact with to get them out of debt, put them in a better financial position, and give them more money confidence, more financial confidence as they go along.
Okay, so I know that you have a book also focusing on financial confidence. So before we talk about that, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about, with the current situation the way it is, where lots of businesses unfortunately have had to close, haven't been able to operate, a lot of people that have been furloughed and then have been made redundant, finance is just it's not comfortable for a lot of people right now. And I think the common thing that people tend to do when they get into that situation, as with any big problem, is kind of hide away from it and ignore it. What would you say to people that are afraid of facing the fact that they're in a financially difficult situation? What advice would you give them to kind of move forward and try and get to a better position?
Taking ownership of your problems actually gives you more confidence and you learn more. And in it, the resourcefulness you find in finding other avenues of making more income. Right. And I'll say, stop burying your head in the sand. It doesn't help you and it will make the problem worse. So get up in the morning, and it's one step at a time. But say, today I'm going to look at my bank statements. Today I'm going to be intentional and decide that I am going to look at all aspects of my financial life and see how much in debt I really am. Because people are in debt, but if you ask them how much in debt are you, most of them can't tell you an exact number. But they do know that they're in debt and they just bury their heads in the sand. So what I do say is, it might be smaller than you think it is. So first of all, get all your finances together, all aspects of your life, and look at them and say, okay, I am in the hole for 15 grand. I'm in the hole for 120 grand. Once you know that number, then we can start working towards eliminating it. But if you don't know that number, nobody can help you. And you can't help yourself.
That's a really good point. And I think a lot of people, if they're ignoring it, they don't know what's been adding on every month. If it's a credit card, for example, the interest every month, they don't realize what it is. So that's a really good point. An audit, I guess, a kind of audit to kind of start at a starting position. And as you kind of move through it and you get better and better, I guess that increases your confidence of doing something positive about it.
Okay. Yes, it is. And it's very much, and sometimes it makes you feel like I'm more in control. Because I think with COVID and people being made, it's that loss of control that a lot of people are suffering from. But once you look at it and face the problem, you feel the sense of empowerment where I am in control of my own destiny. I'm in control of what happens. I can call the banks and say, okay, can you put this on stop because this is what my situation is. But if you're not if you don't look at it, then you can't look at all the ways that the government and other charities are actually out there trying to help you.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess that flows on from doing the audit. So what would you say if someone's sat there and done the audit and they know exactly what they've got to pay back and to who, what would you say would be the first step in them taking proactive action in doing something about that?
I say, look at the smallest debt you have. I always start from the smallest. Mm-hmm. If it's a store card, which is £200, then you say, okay, I'm going to make it my mission this week. I'm going to call the store card company, tell them this is my situation, and they can put the interest on hold. Mm-hmm. But I think it's always starting from and it gives you confidence. I think once you start from the smallest, then you can now move forward, and it gives you the experience as well of talking to people mm-hmm. and asking for help. I think we are very much, and with COVID especially, we are very much insulated, mm-hmm. and people are finding it harder to ask for help. Mm-hmm. But I think it gives you more confidence, and it gives you, it opens you to how people are warm and the relationships you can build by just asking for help. So it's very much, I would say, look at, if you've done your audit, look at what your smallest debt is mm-hmm. and tackle that, because that would not be such a big mountain to climb. It's going to be like, okay, it's 200 or 500 pounds. Mm-hmm. I can talk to somebody about this and not feel like the world is ending. Yeah. So start from that smallest one. Speak to people, speak to the companies. Everybody knows what's happening in the world all mm-hmm. around. And so they have lots of people. Customer services now, most of them are 24/7, and most of them are picking up the phone and speaking to people. Mm-hmm. So speak to somebody and they're going to offer you help or tell you all the different ways of,
That's a really good point, because I think people they don't understand that there is that option to call a credit card company or a store card, to actually ask them for financial help. And I think, especially now with the COVID situation, they're a little bit more towards the lenient side. They're actually reaching out saying, if you need payment holidays. I know that they, a lot of mortgage companies were being very proactive about it and making the process actually very, very simple for people that needed that support. So that's a really good point.
Yeah. And the citizens advice bureaus are also there. I think sometimes once it's finding out where you can get the help, but also being in a community of people who are asking for help makes you not feel alone and not think that your problem is the biggest one in the world. Mm. So I think it's actually opening yourself up to asking for help. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I really love about the way you operate, and I feel like it's something that everybody should know, and especially parents should be encouraging their children to do this. So just give us an explanation a little bit about, if you wanted to go on a holiday, for example, how do you manage that? How do you, what is your how do you get from A to B? I want to go on holiday. To, I am going to go on holiday and I'm going to have a really good time financially.
I think it's a very much outcomes-based model, and it's very much starting with clarity. Mm-hmm. You need a holiday. And I think, like with the book, I have this chapter which is about feelings, which are your emotions. Going on holiday is like, I want to get this kind of emotion. I want to get this feeling out of my holiday. And it's going to make me feel happy. It's going to give me a different environment, and it's going to enhance the joy that I feel in life. So it always starts with the why. Why do you want to take a holiday? Mm-hmm. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I think I need a break. I think I need a rest. And from there, it's very much like, so where do you want to go for holidays? Which are your ideal locations? Which are places that you want to go to? What are the feelings that you think you're going to get out of that experience? Yeah. Once you map that out and you know what you want to get, then if you really, because you can get that feeling just by going to Wales or going to somewhere in the country and get that feeling. But sometimes you have a favorite destination and like, that's where I want to go to. But it's also your budget. What
Yeah.
time of the year do you want to go there? How much is it going to cost? Put it all in, and do I have the funds to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the clarity of it where if I don't have that, can I get that feeling by going on a staycation, which would not put me in debt, but get that feeling that I wanted to have? Or do I really need to take this holiday because I think it's going to enhance my life, my well-being?
Yeah.
And if you want to do that, get the costs, get the costs in, know what the costs are. But the other thing about being resourceful is like, what are the alternatives of getting that holiday for free?
Yeah.
Can I go as a working holiday? Like, can I make it? And especially when I'm dealing with teaching young people, it's very much like, what services can I offer the holiday company? What can I do to make my costs for this holiday less?
Yeah.
Most older people want the comfort of a holiday and don't want to work during their holiday, but most young people are willing to work during their holiday. So for me, it's very much like looking at the different options and what you can do. Because if you can work part-time during the holiday, or even justify to yourself, now with COVID, we know that most people are doing work online.
Yeah.
So can you tell yourself that I'll go during this period of the year, but I'll work online while I'm there?
That's a good
which
point.
is not a very expensive
Yeah.
period of the year.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's very much like being open and not having not being flexible, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go on holiday, so I buy a ticket and I go.
Yeah.
Or use my credit card and buy it. So it's very much being open to the idea of going on holiday, but it requires a bit more planning, a bit more thought goes into it.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, because credit cards is such a dangerous thing, isn't it? Because you kind of, if you don't plan ahead like that, people tend to just go, oh, I'll put it on the credit card and I'll pay it back.
Yeah.
Which is, it just piles up and up and up at the end of the day. So.
And honestly, the way I go on a credit card, interest rates are just unbelievably high. And you don't need that. You don't need. Now, I know that on the investing side, people are not getting that kind of money in terms of compounding when they invest. So why should you be paying it to somebody?
Yeah,
Because it just does not make financial sense. But it comes again to people being intentional and looking at their numbers, looking at their finances are such an important part of our daily lives that it is an aspect just like your health.
Yeah.
That you cannot afford to ignore.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And I think it's dangerous to have that credit card as a backup when you have this impulse buy, habits. And I think what you're teaching is very much like, don't be impulsive. You can have everything that you want. Plan it though, plan it and aim towards it and be resourceful towards achieving it. Really good. So Bella, you have got a very, very healthy mindset with regards to finances and savings, and as well as, enjoying life and getting things that you want and planning to do that. And I know that you have a teenage daughter as well.
Yeah.
So, she's obviously been influenced by your behaviors and the way you manage finances. What would you say is the key thing for parents to do themselves and also encourage their children to do to develop this healthy mindset?
First, I think I'll tell parents, your children's financial future is your responsibility. What you do in bringing up your children and giving them good financial habits would affect the kind of financial balances they have in the future. So it's very much, and sometimes as parents, we would not do things for ourselves, but we'll do it for our children because we want to be good role models. We want to give them a better life than we had. So that's one of the entryways that I use with parents. I'm like, what do you want to give your children? But children learn from example more than they learn from you telling them what to do. So it's very much like, what are your financial habits? On one day a week, Saturday, Sunday, just like you do your meal prep or you're making food for your children, Do you sit with your children and say, okay, this is how much this is what we spend for a week, or let's prepare a list to go to for our grocery shopping?
Yeah.
I insist on lists because I'm like, if your children learn from a very young age that when they go shopping, they do lists, that's a habit they would carry on. And that's budgeting in a little way, in a little sense. So it's very much, let's get our children to know that before you go out to spend money, you've planned to spend that. This is our income in the household, but this much goes towards our bills, which are necessities. What do you prioritize? This is what goes towards food. This is what goes towards our entertainment. And then also you give children the ownership where they're not going to the supermarket and crying to want something because it's not on the list.
Yeah.
And before we left, we had, that we're working on this budget.
Yeah.
So it develops boundaries. And once children have boundaries, those are habits that they're going to take going forward and carry on in life. And with parents, I keep saying, as a household, you need to know what is your net worth as a household. So what income are you and your husband bringing, or if you're alone, what are you bringing in on a yearly basis? So on a monthly basis, how much is your total income? I think it's just like when we're talking about debt, doing the audit for debt.
Yeah.
It's the same thing where your earnings, where are your sources of income? If I have just one source of income, which is my salary, how much is it? And where does the money go? You plan beforehand so that your money is not directing you, you are directing your money. It gives you some kind of autonomy and control over yourself, because it's like, I am going to tell my money where it goes to, not the advertiser.
That's true.
On TV, telling me, oh, this bling or this is shiny.
Yeah.
And so your money goes there.
Really
so
good,
I think it's very much the clarity around what is our household budget? What do we use it for? It's like, okay, our necessities are this. Okay, I know that I have to pay the bills, utilities, house, the mortgage, and all of that. What percentage of my income goes towards that?
Yeah.
What percentage of our income goes towards play, which is holidays, cinema, going out, meeting with friends, entertainment? If we put a budget for that, then we know, and it also spreads out your life. It makes your life more full, because you have a lot of things that you're like, oh, I have £200 every month, which is for entertainment. It makes you go out and network and meet more people, and spend more time. And it is very much, and which is what I have in the book, in New Strategies, where does your money go? What categories does your money go in? And put those percentages of your budget into those categories and automate it so it sticks to it. Like, by automating it, you know that you are in control. I have a cash card where my money for my necessity, for like my daily spending is in that card. So I know that once that is finished, it's done. And I think it's getting those different accounts where once this is finished, it's finished. It's part of, but once you know it and build that habit of knowing that, okay, this is how much I have to spend this week and this is how I spend it. But it also gives you avenues of, like I say, with play money, entertainment. Like,
that's so important.
Where are the free plays? Where is the theater in the park? Where is the around my neighborhood? Where is all those things that you can do, which are for free? It just really opens your mind and gives you more control over the things that you can do, and gives you a more fulfilled life, I think. With lots
definitely. And I think with the audit, it's so important not just to look at debts, but look at what's going out of your account on a monthly basis, because people, and I know I'm guilty of it myself, is, when you subscribe to repeat payments, you have no idea what's going out of your account. I mean, when I did it myself, I didn't realize I was paying for, like, I think it was like Netflix and something else. And then I had another account that I was also paying for Netflix, and I was thinking, why am I paying this twice? This is ridiculous. But even Spotify, there was two different accounts, and I was just thinking, you don't realize that these little things can add up. Even Dropbox, I was paying twice for Dropbox. I don't know why.
Of course.
So,
And I think that's where the organization part of it comes in.
yeah.
Because the chapter I have on organization actually has organization because it's targeting more young people and teenagers, but I think parents can take this where it's and that's one of the selling points I sell parents towards. Like, your children are going to organize their clothes, their books,
Yeah.
their documents, have conversations with you about, do I have an ISA, like a junior ISA that you set up for me? Or have those conversations with you about what finances they have, if they have, and if they have bank accounts. But organizing their social media, their emails and things like that. But tidying up and decluttering helps identify all of that.
Yeah.
Where it's very much like, let's unsubscribe for the things that we're no longer using.
Mm-hmm.
And it just gives you, and it's something that we have a financial habit tracker on it as well. So you track the things that you spend maybe once a month doing, like, just to keep up. After your big clear out, then once a month, it's very much a little tidy. Yeah. So it's no longer, it's something that would take you maybe 15 minutes to do. It's no longer such a big job.
Yeah.
But you put it in your habit tracker, which means I don't forget to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good point. And I think it's less scary as well, because you're not inundated with different accounts you've got to look at and all the other stuff. So it's just a maintenance, I guess, like a quick maintenance check to see what's going on.
After the initial work of doing a bulk organizing, which I say you can't tackle all at once, you take one category maybe a week. After that, you find that you feel lighter, you feel your sense of well-being, like, I'm in control. It enhances that. So
definitely. It's really good points there. So just turning to your book that you've written about this subject, and it's sort of, I guess you're starting off with financial confidence for teenagers, which is such an important topic, especially nowadays when teenagers are going to be going off to university, and they're going to have their first ever student loan, which is daunting enough as it is. So giving them that resilient mindset to say, okay, I've got the student loan, I'm going to have to pay it back at some point, and let's kind of work through university in the best possible way, with the best possible outcome in terms of, your studies, and also financially, not getting to a very, very difficult situation. So talk to us a little bit about the book and what people can expect to gain from that. What kind of knowledge?
I think it was a need I found, because I have a teenage daughter who is growing up, and I could see, like, she's going to university in September, and it's very much like, how do you prepare her for the world and prepare her for going in, financially, basically, like managing her finances, and that awareness of what's going to come her way. It's like, even like with the credit card requests, like when you go for university open days, the credit card companies are standing by.
Wow, really?
They're already there, like, and the student loan people are there. And you're like, this is something that is going to follow you through your lifetime, basically. And I think it's one of those things where I say, to be forewarned is to be forearmed, where if you know before you go that this is what's going to happen, then you already have an idea of what the answers you're going to give are. You already know how you're going to deal with them, and you're not influenced very much like the immediate satisfaction, or because you have great marketing with these people and salespeople who are pushing these things. So it's very much preparing young people to be able to manage, like, expect, like, with car loans and things, all of those things is like, this is what your expectations should be, or know that these are coming. And if they come, we have the common sense where, like with me, a parent telling you have to, like, spend less than you earn, like, you don't have to have debt. So it's very much, the book is targeting teenagers from my selfish perspective as a parent, but also it's very much, it's easier to get young people to change habits than it is for much older people.
Yeah.
And most parents would actually change because their children influence their change.
Yes.
Because if the children come home and say, oh, mom, this is how we do this and whatever, let's get a list done. This is how it's been taught to me. And I went to a fun shop or workshop, and this is how it's shown that this helps our finances. Parents they easily take that than it is for parents to go and seek that advice from an expert outside.
Yeah.
So that's the inroad I try to make. And that's why the book is Financial Confidence for Teenagers, for young people. Yeah. But obviously, I know that parents, mostly it's going to be parents buying it for their teens.
Oh, absolutely. I will be. Yes. For sure.
So, yes. So it's very much telling the parents that you're going to have to be a support system for your for your kids, to help them get a better financial future than you had, or better financial education than you had.
Yeah.
We know that it's a stopgap, it's a shortfall that schools are not doing. So parents have to start taking responsibility.
Definitely.
And this year with COVID has shown that it's actually, even education, it's actually more of a parent's responsibility.
Yeah, definitely. And setting those habits from this age, I think, is so, so important, because with a lot of families, it's kind of like, oh, they've always got the parents to fall back on. That's the thing. The kids have not been given the responsibility to say, this is your responsibility, and no, you don't have mum and dad to fall back on. You manage. If you want to spend this much money, then you have to then understand how you're going to pay it back. If you want this kind of car, it's got to be within your means. It's not like, there's a lot of competitiveness within teenagers, isn't there? Like, they've got this bag and they've got these shoes, especially with girls. And, and it's very much
this iPhone.
Like, the best phone and all this stuff. And I think having them be resourceful in their mind to say, well, I want to upgrade my iPhone. Let's not complain about it until mommy gets sick of it and buys me another one. Let me see how I can buy this myself, which is, I think, such a good habit, a really, really good habit. And as a parent, I'm the first person to say, oh, here you go, here's a new iPhone, which is something, it's a bad habit, because things are not.
It is a bad habit. And I think that's why I am targeting the parents who are going to be buying these books for the children, in terms of how much autonomy are you giving your children so that they can build the financial confidence?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, confidence comes by you doing something and becoming familiar with it. But it's also a willingness to try.
Yeah.
So it's very much, I'm like, we need our children to start being able to go out there and be resourceful. The world is changing so quickly. Technology is changing so quickly. Jobs are changing so quickly. We need to make our children adaptable and make our children self-aware and give them self-autonomy, where they can do it themselves instead of throwing it at them.
Yeah.
Because the way our results are not, or our outcomes are not what are going to be their outcomes.
That's right. Yeah.
So we need to let them take the training wheels off, basically, and let them fall. And I keep saying, failures are the opportunities to learn. Like, this didn't work.
Yes, definitely.
Failures, it's a reframing what the word failure is, but giving our children a chance to fail, and fail more often when they're young, so that they learn.
Yeah.
And they become resilient, and then they improve on their skill set, and they become agile, because I think the buzzword now is agile. It's like become agile, where it's like adaptable to different changes.
Yeah.
But it's up to us parents from home to start letting go and giving them that autonomy to do those things.
Yeah, really good advice. I've learned so much from you already, Bella.
Thank you, Jen.
What would be really, really great, I think, because I know that as part of your book and a part of what you offer as a service, you're going to be doing a lot of fun shops, which is learning through not just sitting, reading a textbook and trying to absorb it all. You're going to be having a lot of fun activities for people to do. What would be really great, I think, is for us to maybe get together with you again in a few weeks' time, and just maybe go through a couple of the fun shop exercises that people can implement and start introducing to their children.
I have like, with parents especially, I'm saying that parents should have a sheet which is like a parent's performance list, like it's like your report card that they give their children. And it's very much like the parents should be the ones now assessing, the children should be the ones assessing their parents. It's very much, but I think in most often than not, parents are giving feedback to kids, but kids hardly ever get a chance to give parents feedback.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's all, and that's one of the things in the fun shop where I'm giving the children questions to ask their parents. And with finances, it's like, how do you manage? And then I think with conversation, the parents open up and the parents also learn.
Yeah.
But then it becomes, because I'm thinking this is not something that we can say just the young people. It's a whole, like if you look at the book, when I was doing the debt review, there's a lot of stats on UK debt.
Yeah.
Because we're in the UK, obviously, but that's worldwide. And the amount of debt we've gotten ourselves into as a generation, as a world. But it's very much those conversations that we need to start having that influence our parents, influence our friends, and improve our whole community, basically.
Yeah.
In terms of the way we look at debt and the way that we can help each other to get out of debt. But also improve our financial management systems and get ourselves into better financial positions and make the world healthier as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's been amazing, Bella. Thank you so much for all the insights.
Yeah.
Lots and lots
Thanks,
of takeaway
Chan.
tips. So what we'll do is we'll definitely catch up again and then go through a little bit more about the fun shops. So your book is already released, so we'll put a link into the video description, so anybody who's interested in getting the book, I think it'd be great. And it'd be really good for people to actually get the book and have a read through it before we catch up again, so they've got a little bit more idea of what they can gain out of these fun shops. So I think that would be a really good exercise. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Okay then, Chan, thanks so much for calling. Okay then, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.